ברוכים הבאים לפודקאסט של שפות-שלי, בית ספר לאנגלית ושפות נוספות. I'm your host today, אריאל. אני אריאל. ישנו היום פרק מרתק, קוראים לפרק שלנו Don't believe everything you think. אל תאמינו לכל דבר שאתם חושבים. זה נושא שנוגע לכולנו. תמיד ישנו כל מיני סוגים של מחשבות, חלקם טובים, חלקם פחות טובים. מאוד מאוד קשה לדעת למה להאמין ולמה לא. וגם אני הולך לקשור את זה לכם היום גם לתהליך של לימוד אנגלית, מה אנשים בדרך כלל אומרים לעצמם, מה הקושי שלכם בדרך, וגם בחיים בכלליות. So you guys are here to learn English, אתם כאן כדי לשמוע קצת אנגלית, ללמוד קצת אנגלית, לאמן את האוזן, and have a growth mindset, חשיבה של צמיחה כל הזמן. אז רוב הפודקאסט הזה יהיה באנגלית, will be in English, and I will occasionally drop some Hebrew in between, שזה לכם מעניין, או אם אני חושב שאוצר המילים פה יהיה גבוה מדי, אני כמובן אנסה להוסיף קצת תרגום. So let's get started with today's episode. So greetings to everyone. I hope you guys had a nice week. Thank you for listening again to me and to this podcast. Obviously, if you have any questions, please write us in. So today, our episode is called Don't Believe Everything You Think. This episode promises to be an enlightening one, especially if you're striving to learn a new language or any new skill, or you're just looking for growth mindset. So let's unravel this mystery together and get started. Let's talk about the nature of thought. So as we embark on this journey today, our first stop is to understand the nature of thought, how your thoughts work. Think of thoughts as the silent architects of our actions, reactions, and reality. They are intangible, constantly fleeting, but undeniably powerful entities that exist within the confines of our mind. So what precisely is a thought? At its core, a thought is a spontaneous mental construct, a product of cognitive processes influenced by experiences, surroundings, and innate tendencies. They can arise from external stimuli, like something we read or heard, or can stem from deep-seated memories and beliefs. If we take a look at an example, we can consider the vast and awe-inspiring world of dreams. Have you ever woken up from a dream that felt incredibly real, only to realize it was a mere fragment of your imagination? In that realm, our thoughts create entire landscapes, emotions, and scenarios that blur the lines between reality and fiction, demonstrating their potent transformative power. Now, not all thoughts are born equal. Some are fleeting, like pondering the color of a passer's-by shirt. Others carry immense emotional weight, like reminiscing about a childhood memory or worrying about a future event. יש למחשבות האלה משקל מאוד 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 כבד, ולפעמים כבד בצורה שהוא לא פרופורציונלי. These thoughts intertwine with our emotions, influencing our mood, perceptions, and actions. Imagine you're about to give a public speech. If your immediate thought is, I'm going to mess this up, it triggers anxiety. Your palms might sweat, your heart rate might increase, but the physical reactions begin with a mere thought. כל הסימנים הפיזיולוגיים בעצם מתחילים בהתחלה ממחשבה. Conversely, if you think, I'm prepared and will do my best, אני מוכן, אני אעשה את המקסימום, confidence replaces anxiety, altering your physical state positively. זה יותר קל מלהגיד מאשר לעשות, אבל כן, זה מסע וזה נדרש עבודה. אני אפרק את זה כאן, כמובן, אנחנו ניכנס לזה יותר לעומק. Let's talk about also real-world implications about our thoughts. The thoughts we cultivate and entertain can shape our lives in tangible ways. Negative self-talk can hinder potential, while positive affirmations can propel us forward. לתת לנו דחיפה קדימה, אתם יודעים את זה, כולם יודעים את זה, הצורה שאתה נכנס לכל תהליך, המיינדסט שלך, חייב להיות חיובי. אוקיי, this ייתן לך דחיפה קדימה בכל סיטואציה, כל מה שאתה תנסה ללמוד בחיים, לא רק אנגלית, אבל כל מיומנות, גם תצא להצליח בקריירה שלך, בזוגיות שלך, בכל דבר בחיים, תיכנס לזה חיובי, תן למוח שלך לחשוב, להכיל אותך דברים חיוביים, ולדחוף אותך קדימה. זה מאוד מאוד קל להגיד, אבל זה בסופו של דבר מפתח. If we take an example and we take the story of Michael Jordan, who was often touted as basketball's greatest ever player. He was cut from his high school basketball team, and he could have thought, like, let's say, perhaps basketball isn't for me. He was cut from his high school team. He could have easily manifested You could have brought this negative thought into real world situation, and we never would have seen or enjoyed or watched Michael Jordan play if he would have let that thought fester in his mind that he's not good enough and that maybe just basketball is not for him. Instead, Michael Jordan famously stated, I failed over and over again in my life, and that is why I succeed. וזה למה אני מצליח. אני נכשלתי פעם אחר פעם אחר פעם. וזה למה אני מצליח. His thoughts of perseverance, rather than defeat, defined his legendary career. אנחנו פוגשים גם המון אנשים שאומרים, תשמעו, כבר ניסיתי, למדתי, זה לא בשבילי, אני נכשלתי, I can't do it, but there's a way to do it right, okay? And never ever give up. יש דרך לעשות זה נכון, יש שיטה ללמוד בצורה נכונה, ויש דרך לאמן את המוח ולהיכנס לזה באופן חיובי ולהצליח. כמו בכל דבר בחיים, come into any process positively. In essence, thoughts aren't just wisps of consciousness. They're the bedrock of a psyche. The nature of our thoughts determines the quality of our life, איכות חיים שלנו, both internally and in the world around us. As we continue today's episode, just remember that understanding and managing our thoughts is a profound step toward creating our desired reality. אנחנו מייצרים את המציאות שאנחנו רוצים לחיות בה. וזה הדבר הכי יפה שיכול להיות. So let's talk about cognitive distortions and how our brain can mislead us. As we delve deeper, let's shift the focus to a fascinating area of psychology, and this is cognitive distortions. These are in essence the brain shortcuts. זה קיצורי דרך של המוח, automatic ways it processes information that while efficient can sometimes lead us astray לפעמים. כמו שאנחנו חושבים על משהו, רואים משהו, זה לא בהכרח הצורה הנכונה. Cognitive distortions are systematic biases in our thinking patterns. They can negatively influence our emotions, behaviors, and decisions. They arise from our brain's need to quickly interpret and act upon vast amounts of information, but they often oversimplify reality and נותנים למציאות יותר מדי פשטות נקרא לזה, leading to errors in judgment. אתם עושים אחרי זה טעות בשיקול דעת. Now, where do these distortions stem from? They can be traced back to our evolutionary past. Our ancestors needed quick reactions more than accurate ones. For instance, mistaking a rustling bush for a predator and fleeing was far safer than taking time to investigate and potentially becoming prey. שזה משהו מאוד מדהים, זה כבר תמוה בנו, זה כבר ב-DNA שלנו, מהאדם הקדמון נגיד את זה, שאם היה הרבה יותר קל, אם אתם שומעים, אם לאדם הקדמון היה הרבה יותר קל, אם הוא היה חושש, שיש איזו חיה רעה מסתתרת בשיחים, הוא היה פשוט לברוח, ולא לתת למוח זמן לבדוק, ובאמת להבין האם זה מסוכן, הסיטואציה לא מסוכנת. היה לזה עדיפות מלהפוך לאוכל. ולכן האינסטינקט הראשוני זה להיבהל, להיכנס לפאניקה ולברוח. ולכן זה נדרש היום עבודה, כי אנחנו לא נמצאים בסיטואציה הזאת של יותר לאמן את המוח במיינדסט של צמיחה, מיינדסט של בדיקה, מיינדסט של להסתכל על המחשבה ולחשוב רגע שנייה, האם אני באמת במצב מסוכן, האם אני באמת, מה שאני אומר לעצמי זה נכון, האם אני באמת לא יכול, או שאני מכין את עצמי דברים שליליים שאין להם משמע, אין להם באמת ביסוס. Let's consider the confirmation bias, a tendency to search for, interpret, and remember information that confirms our pre-existing beliefs. Say you believe that all cats are unfriendly. Even if 9 out of 10 cats you meet are friendly, your brain might fixate on the one aloof cat, reinforcing your pre-existing belief. Let's talk about also the types of distortions. There are numerous cognitive distortions, each influencing our perception of self, others, and the world in unique ways. They're all or nothing thinking, viewing situations in black and white with no gray area. אם אנחנו מסתכלים על מצבים רק בשחור לבן, עם שום שטח אפור, זה gray area. לדוגמה, a student believes, if I don't get an A, אם אני לא מקבל ציון גבוה של 90% plus, I failed. Such binary thinking can hinder personal growth and increase stress. Overgeneralization, אם אנחנו מנסים להכליל, making broad conclusions from a single event or piece of evidence. For example, after facing rejection for one job, someone might think, I'll never get hired anywhere. Such thoughts can deter them from further applications and from making steps forward. Catastrophizing, לחשוב שיהיה קטסטרופה, exaggerating the implications of negative events. An example, a person spills coffee in their shirt and thinks, this has ruined my entire day. זה הרס לי את היום כמה פעמים, כל לכם נשפך לכם קפה, ואתם אומרים, הלך היום מתחיל ברגל שמאל, ולהתחיל לחשוב שזה הולך להיות יום שלילי, זה הרס לי את היום. אפילו אל תוציאו את המילים האלה מהפה. Such a magnified perspective can sell one's mood over minor mishap. Also, we have emotional reasoning, which is believing that because we feel a certain way, אם אנחנו מרגישים בצורה מסוימת, it must be true. An example for this is, someone feels overwhelmed and thinks, I must be incompetent. אולי אני לא מסוגל. Emotions, though valid, aren't always accurate barometers of reality. Now, we can overcome distortion. Awareness is the first step to counteract these distortions. Once we recognize these patterns, we can challenge them, replacing distorted thoughts with more balanced, realistic ones. For example, the story of Oprah Winfrey is a testament to this. She faced numerous challenges and prejudices early in her career. Many cognitive distortions could have taken root from overgeneralizing based on rejections to catastrophizing failures. Yet, by continually challenging negative thoughts and persevering, she carved an unparalleled niche for herself. זה אי אפשר להתווכח עם זה. זה פשוט מדהים, היא מצאה את הנישה שלה לגמרי, היא יצרה את הדרך שלה בתחום הזה, היא מצאה את המקום שלה בסוף, אחרי המון לא. It is vital to remember that while our brains are hardwired with these distortions for survival, we will now live in a world where reflection, introspection, and accurate perception play pivotal roles. Recognizing and countering these distortions is essential for personal growth, fulfilling relationships, and overall well-being. So how do we navigate the stormy seas of our minds? And then, אנחנו הולכים לדבר קצת, again, I've mentioned this in a couple of podcasts, but the importance of this is basically huge in any process that you guys undertake. This is mindfulness. So let's move forward and sail into the serene waters, המים השקטים של mindfulness. In a world brimming with distractions, information, and rapid change, how can we center ourselves? How can we discern the truth from illusion in our minds? And the answer lies in the ancient practice of mindfulness. Mindfulness at its core is a practice of being fully present, להיות ממש בתוך הרגע, and engaged in the current moment without judgment, בלי לשפוט. It's not about meditating atop a hill or chanting mantras. It's about a practical approach to life that can be woven into our daily routines. If we take a look at it from an historical perspective, rooted in Buddhist philosophy, mindfulness has been practiced for over 2,500 years. Yet in recent decades, its relevance has skyrocketed in the West, thanks to scientifically proven benefits in managing stress, enhancing focus, and fostering emotional well-being. The brain on mindfulness, well, mindfulness doesn't merely offer ephemeral feelings of peace. זה לא רק נותן לך תחושה של שלום, שקט. It physically alters the brain. זה ממש משנה את המוח. Neuroscientific studies have shown that consistent mindfulness practices can increase the density of gray matter in the prefrontal cortex, a region associated with higher order brain functions like consciousness, decision-making, and moderation of social behavior. Consider the metamorphosis of a simple caterpillar into a butterfly. A caterpillar confined to the ground has limited perspective, but as it transforms, it gains wings, soaring into the sky and seeing the world from a whole new vantage point. Similarly, with mindfulness, a perspective on life involves allowing us to navigate challenges with grace and poise. זה ממש דוגמה כל כך מדהימה ויפה של תהיו בעצם כמו פרפר. פרפר מתחיל את החיים שלו באדמה, like a caterpillar, ואז הוא מפתח כנפיים, הוא יכול לעוף ולראות את העולם ממבט שונה ויפה, וככה זה mindfulness בשביל המוח שלנו, זה מה שנותן לנו לפתוח את הראש. Mindfulness in action, observation without judgment, by viewing of thoughts as passing clouds, we learn not to get entangled in them. The clarity aids in making more informed decisions. For example, if a writer is facing a block, he doesn't braid himself but observes the frustration without judgment. This detachment often paves the way for inspiration. Mindfulness is focused attention. Mindfulness hones attention, enabling us to immerse ourselves in tasks and savor life's moments. לדוגמה, a chef deeply engrossed in the act of cooking doesn't just prepare a meal, but creates a work of art, עבודה של אמנות, elevating the culinary experience. Another way to put mindfulness into action is emotional regulation. Recognizing our emotions without getting swept away by them allows for a healthier interpersonal relationship and inner harmony. An example for this, in an argument, instead of impulsively retaliating, a mindful individual pauses, reflects, and responds, transforming potential conflict into constructive conversation. This is a very, very nice example. So if we take a look at a real-world implication of mindfulness, the story of John Kabat-Zinn stands out here, a molecular biologist. He bridged the gap between ancient wisdom and modern science by finding the mindfulness-based stress reduction program. It's called MBSR. You guys can Google it. Today, this program is deployed worldwide, helping countless individuals cope with stress, pain, and illness. As we wrap up the mindfulness section, it's essential to recognize that the seas of our mind, though occasionally turbulent, can be navigated with the compass of mindfulness. Whether you're a busy professional, a student, a parent, or anyone seeking clarity amidst chaos, remember every breath, every moment, kol od haner dolek, is an opportunity to be truly present, to experience life in its fullest, undiluted essence. Let's move on to the next section. And now we're going to pivot a little bit towards language learning. So pivoting our discussion a bit, let's traverse the fascinating terrain of learning a language. On the surface, it might seem like a stretch from our previous topics, but as you'll soon discover, the principles of cognition, perception, and mindfulness play crucial roles here as well. Language learning isn't merely about memorizing words and rules. It's a dynamic process where one absorbs the culture, context, and the nuances associated with those words, effectively rewiring the brain to think in an entirely new paradigm. אנחנו בעצם מעצבים את הצורה החשיבה שלכם completely afresh, completely new. It's more than just לדעת חוקים ומילים. A new language, and absolutely dominating the language, will put your mind into thinking in a completely new way and adds more to your vision in life. The role of perception. Our beliefs and perceptions profoundly impact our language learning journey. Cognitive distortions, which we discussed earlier, can manifest here too. For example, consider the belief, יש אנשים שאומרים, I'm too old to learn a new language, or אני לא מספיק אין את היכולות, זה לא בשבילי, שפה לא בא לי טבעי. Numerous studies have debunked this, proving that while children may have an edge in mimicking native pronunciation, adults often have superior meta-linguistic knowledge, aiding in structured learning. כבוגר, אתם לומדים את השפה בצורה שיטתית. ברגע שאתם לומד את השפה בשיטתית, יש לך יתרון משמעותי, גם כמו שילדים לומדים שפה. And this is scientifically proven, okay, יש דרך that you can, as an adult as well, pick up the language in a very quick and very intuitive way. You will face challenges and mind blocks. The path to language proficiency is strewn with challenges, both external and internal. בוא נדבר עליהם קצת הפחדים שיש אנשים. Fear of making mistakes, הפחד מלעשות טעויות. This fear can hinder practice, which is vital for proficiency. For example, you see many travelers, they hesitate to converse with locals, fearing mispronunciation. However, it's through these very interactions that you can really hone your fluency. Overwhelming from the grammar and the structure. Every language has its unique structure, which can seem daunting. An English speaker, let's say, or an Israeli speaker learning Spanish might grapple with its case system. Instead of perceiving it is as a hurdle, understanding its logic can make it a tool for expressive communications. Also, cultural nuances. So let's talk about, this is in every language, beyond words. Understanding cultural context is pivotal. Every single language has its own nuances. And obviously, we verified sufficiently that you understand these nuances. You understand to get into the mind of how native speakers really speak the language, how they think, and also those particular different words which can only be explained in context. שלפעמים פשוט אין להם תרגום בעברית לגמרי, או יש כמה משמעות שונה לגמרי, או כמה משמעויות לאותו מילה. So next one is that I want to talk about is mindfulness in language learning. Remember the principles of mindfulness, they're gold when applied to language learning as well. Next step is in your language learning journey, which we can apply here, is being present, actively listening and immersing ourselves in conversations without fear of judgment adds to comprehension and retention. If we talk about, let's say, again, go back to Spanish learning, לדוגמה, you can truly absorb it by listening to the lyrics, and you can pick up the language very quick as well. If you just understand the language a lot better, if you really absorb the lyrics and the emotions that are pointing to the music, rather than just reading the translations, you can enhance your vocabulary and your understanding. Observation without judgment. Instead of getting frustrated with the mistakes, observing them as areas of growth can lead to progress. Example, struggling with French pronunciation, noting where you falter, and practicing without self-beratement speeds up the learning curve. And definitely celebrate all your small wins. Recognizing and relishing minor achievements keeps motivation levels high. If you manage the basic conversation in French, in Russian, in Italian, celebrate it. תרגגו את זה. כל צעד הוא חשוב. אנחנו מנסים להביא אתכם לצד הזה של דיבור שיח בצורה תקינה באופן די מהיר, אבל כשאתם מגיעים לשלב שאפילו ראשוני, בסיסי, תרגגו את זה, כל צעד הוא צעד. Let's talk about a real world implication of celebrating every small step. Steve Kaufman, a renowned polyglot. He speaks a few languages. Polyglot, that's more than 5 languages. And we have many, many teachers in the school, but are polyglots. So Steve Kaufman, who is a renowned polyglot, embodies the spirit of perception, mindfulness, and language learning. He speaks over 15 languages and attributes his success not to innate talent, and as a כישרון, הוא לא מסביר כישרון, but to an open mindset and the mindfulness with which we approach it. Now, let's wrap up today with the process of rewiring our minds for success. איך אנחנו בעצם מתכנתים את המוח שלנו מחדש להצלחה. So let's transition to our final destination in this podcast today. That is the art and science of rewiring our minds for success. We've spoken about not believing everything we think, cognitive distortions, and the landscape of language learning. Now it's time to bring it all together and understand how we can actively shape our mindset for success. We must know that the brain's plasticity, our brains are not rigid structures. They possess an incredible ability called neuroplasticity, which allows neurons to form new connections throughout our lives. This malleability means that with consistent effort, we can create new neural pathways that favor success, resilience, and growth. If you take, for example, you think of London's taxi drivers, studies have shown that mastering the intricate maze of London street enlarges the hippocampus, a brain area crucial for spatial memory. This illustrates how learning and experience can physically reshape our brain. Now, if you talk about, let's say, the myth between fixed mindset versus reality growth mindset, let's talk about this a little bit. A fixed mindset, this is the belief that abilities and intelligence are static. People with a fixed mindset avoid challenges, fearing failure, and view effort as fruitless. For example, you could say to yourself, I've always been bad at English, and there's nothing I can do about it. That's a real static mindset that unfortunately many people have. לא רק בישראל, אבל בעולם כולו. growth mindset, ואני מאמין שכל מי שמאזין לי כרגע, יש לו את המיינדסט הזה, במיוחד אם אתם הגעתם עד לפה בפודקאסט, you guys definitely have a growth mindset, ותהיו גאים בעצמכם, ויאללה, תשקיעו בעצמכם, and push yourself forward. The growth mindset, this mindset championed by psychologist Carol Dweck, posits that abilities can be developed with dedication and effort. Challenges are embraced and effort is seen as a pathway to mastery. For example, you might be struggling with English now, but with consistent effort and the right strategies, you believe that you can improve. And this is absolutely correct. And אני יכול להגיד לכם that we apply all the time effort and right strategies, and we see amazing results לכל התלמידים שלנו, for all our students. And this is the way to strategize for success. So let's talk about some ways you can implement these strategies. One is embrace your failures as learning opportunities. Each setback offers a lesson. Instead of ruminating on what went wrong, focus on the takeaways and how to implement them in the future. For example, a budding entrepreneur's first venture fails. Instead of viewing it as a dead end, they analyze the shortcomings and apply the insights to the next endeavor.
visualize success. Visualization isn't about daydreaming. It's about focused exercise. We mentally rehearse achieving your goals. This not only boosts motivation, but also primes the brain to recognize, and to seize opportunities. For example, an athlete mentally rehearses a perfect performance before the actual event, enhancing muscle memory and confidence. Next point is seek constructive feedback. Surround yourself with individuals, a teacher, a mentor, who offer honest, constructive feedback. This helps in identifying blind spots and for sure is going to accelerate your growth. Mindfulness and success. By cultivating mindfulness, we develop an acute awareness of our thoughts, patterns, enable us to catch and challenge limiting beliefs. When we're present in the moment, we're better equipped to recognize opportunities, make informed decisions, and maintain equilibrium amid challenges. So if we take an example, if you're in a high-stakes negotiation, being mindful allows a business person to remain calm, attentive to the nuances, and responsive rather than reactive. לענות מאשר להגיב. Real world implications. If we take, I would say that really Elon Musk serves as a beacon here. From PayPal to Tesla to SpaceX, his ventures epitomize audacity and innovation. While naysayers abounded, Musk's unwavering belief in his vision, coupled with the adaptability to learn from failures, showcases the essence of a growth mindset. Musk applies a concept called first principles thinking. Instead of following conventions, he breaks down problems to the basics and rebuilds from there. This approach allows him to think outside the box and not be constrained by existing beliefs or norms. So, לפני שאנחנו מגיעים לסוף של הפודקאסט הזה, let's engrave one truth in our minds. פשוט תגידו לעצמכם over and over. Success isn't a destination, זה לא יעד. It's a journey of constant evolution. זה מסע של שינוי תמידי כל הזמן לשינוי לטובה. Grow. And on this journey, our most potent allies are a growth mindset, an understanding of a cognitive landscape, and the mindfulness to navigate it adaptively. Our exploration today is taking us through the winding pathways of the human mind. We learned about the thoughts, though powerful or merely transient entities, the shape of beliefs, but not always rooted in reality. Whether you're navigating personal challenges, societal norms, or the intricacies of English and learning English or ללימוד אנגלית, remember, our potential isn't dictated by our thoughts, but by our actions based on those thoughts. הפוטנציאל שלנו, לא מה שיחיה את הפוטנציאל שלנו זה מחשבות שלנו, אבל איך אנחנו בעצם נגיב, our actions, based on those thoughts, המעשים שלנו, שהם בעצם תלויים במחשבות האלה, זה מה שיחיה בסוף. So, אני שמחתי כמובן להיות איתכם כאן היום, מקווה שהאמנתם הכל, אם יהיו חלקים שיהיו לא ברורים, ואתם רוצים לצאת קצת פידבק, מונים לעוד פרקים, רוצים שאני אדבר על נושאים, חלקים שמעניינים אתכם, גם אם זה קצת דברים טכניים, שלא דיברנו בהם בעבר בפודקאסטים קודמים, בבקשה לרשום לנו מייל, ל-info@שפות-שלי.co.il, או וואטסאפ למספר 053-551-976. אני אריאל, אני תמיד אשמח לשמוע מכם, וכמובן גם הצוות שלנו כאן, במאפקים שלנו כאן. תודה רבה לכם, and until next time, challenge your beliefs, dare to dream, תעיזו לחלום, and always remember, don't believe everything you think. אל תאמינו לכל דבר שאתם חושבים. שיהיה לכם המשך שבוע מדהים. Make every day a success. And I'll see you guys again next week. Bye bye.